Ah, the Tonnika Sisters. Probably the most demanded characters from the original trilogy that have not yet been made. Well, as far as background characters. I mean, come on, they're two hot female models in tight spandex hanging out with a bunch of aliens. Why would we not want these as toys? And there have been many videos made about why the search for these toys has been so mysterious. In fact, you can see a really great one made very recently on the Star Wars toy channel Junkman. Big fan of his channel, go check it out. He did a great video giving kind of the background about why making these figures has been so difficult and proposing, kind of linking it to, different things that have been made with them, showing their image, etc., etc. So check out his video here. All right, but let's talk about the bigger issue. And what is that? While the Tonnika sisters have appeared in print in things like the Chronicles books, and, they were obviously in the movie, although according to, I think, the Legends books, Tales from the Cantina, it's actually not them, it's just someone impersonating them, but I don't know if that counts anymore. Either way, they're in the movie, whether it's them or not. And they have moved their way into fan hearts and minds. I mean, they've become, I think, bigger than the sum of their parts in the sense that the fact that we can't have them as action figures or have been repeatedly told that we cannot even question this has risen the demand for the figures even more than it normally would have. I mean, there's nothing fans want more than something they can't have. Just ask Jocasta Nu, who we were told we could not have an action figure, and then suddenly she was on the top of every figure list, and Hasbro eventually made her for Brian's Toys. But that's a video for another time. All right, so going back to the Tonnika sisters, whether this is them or someone impersonating them, there's two of them. They're sisters. They're not exactly identical twins, but there is plenty of photography of them from the 1977 film, as well as footage. So the taller of them is played by an actress, Angela Staines. So she's the one who kind of got the ball rolling on why the door was closed to doing the Tonnika sisters. She's embraced the convention circuit and the fandom and realized how much fans enjoyed the Tonnika sisters. And I mean, let's face it, again, two hot models hanging out in the cantina in a world that is filled with, Princess Leia, Mon Mothma, the rebel officer who says, fire ion cannon. I mean, there's not that many females in Star Wars. So when you have, attractive models in spandex, of course we're going to be very interested in them. The second Tonnika sisters, Bria, is played by Christine Hewitt, who unfortunately passed a few years ago in 2007, but she was also a big actress in the 70s, did a lot of background, a lot of science fiction stuff as well. And again, she goes down in Star Wars history for playing one of the Tonnika sisters. So Angela laid this all out in a Cantina Chatter podcast, which again, Junkman did a great job on recapping this, but I want to sort of highlight the bigger issue. So all of this started when Galoob made a Tonnika sister limited articulation figure in the Action Fleet line, as well as decipher cards using them in their card-playing game in the mid-90s. So both of these images of the Tonnika sisters led the actress who played one of them to write Lucasfilm a letter essentially saying, hey, you're making money off of my image. I would like some recognition, some money, free samples even. Come on, something. And this is what started the ball rolling. And it's not necessarily for the reasons that a lot of fans think. So it's a much, much bigger and deeper legal hole. So to get to the point of it, when Angela Staines wrote this letter to Lucasfilm, it wasn't as much her asking for recognition or money for using her image on Tonnika Sisters merchandise, and it wasn't whether or not a contract was signed with her likeness rights, because what this was doing was exposing a huge loophole. The fact that most of the minor characters from the original movie, especially 77, did not sign contracts with likeness rights. It didn't happen back then. No one ever thought we'd get to a situation where people would want flash-on-the-pan 1-second characters. And this letter, essentially doing a Tonnika sister figure, would have set the precedent that and had Lucasfilm paid the actress for this, it would have created a new situation where it would have exposed this loophole. The fact that, yeah, most of those Cantina figures and rebel officers, troops from the very first movie in '77 never signed likeness rights. It just, they only did it with the main characters. And fans for years have been asking, well, could they do a workaround? Could they, just recast the Tonnika Sisters? Or the fact that one of them showed up in a wanted poster on the Clone Wars animated series? Or was that Rebels? I forget. Either way, it showed up as a wanted poster. So is this, a workaround? But again, this isn't going to be viewed as a workaround if a figure was made of the Tonnika Sisters using this reference material, or if she was recast in one of the new movies. Well, lawyers and judges would just look at this as a way of trying to avoid paying the original actress, a deliberate attempt to skirt the issue. So that's no good either. That's why you're never going to see a company take advantage of a workaround like that. So really, coming back to this toy, this battle pack with the Bantha that included one of the Tonnika Sisters and one of the only toys we've ever gotten, has created a huge hole and a huge issue that has now, because of this letter, it wasn't the issue with just the Tonnika sister. It was the fact that likeness rights, which is called rights of publicity, that's the legal term, when a company gets the right to use your name, likeness, nickname, etc. for monetary use or for commercial use, because anyone can essentially, if you use their name, heck, even, drug dealers like Pablo Escobar has sued over likeness rights. And it's such a deep legal issue that if a Tonnika sister figure was made and the actresses were paid, it would suddenly open up this huge floodgate exposing the fact that, oh my gosh, we have hundreds, if not thousands, of extras from the original movies that never signed likeness rights. Only the main characters like Luke and Vader, Mark Hamill, well, Vader doesn't have likeness rights, but Carrie Fisher, all of those minor characters, no one bothered to sign likeness rights because no one ever imagined we'd get to the point that there would be fan demand for all of these background characters that appeared in 2 seconds. But there is. And because of this, it wasn't standard practice. Why in the 70s would you sign every single one of these troopers likeness rights? Now Lucasfilm does that. Disney does that with the new movies. Everyone who steps on the soundstage signs that. But if Lucasfilm paid the Tonnika sisters and recognized that, oh yeah, we don't have likeness rights, suddenly this precedent is going to be set where all of these background characters start coming out of the woodwork and saying, well, wait a minute, you never paid me, and you never paid me, and you never paid me. And suddenly these small lawsuits or small requests add up very quickly because essentially every action figure ever made of a background character, this letter, this Tonnika Sisters situation exposed the fact that there isn't a legal trail of likeness right contracts for the background actors. It just never happened. Again, why would you do that in the 70s? No one thought Star Wars was going to be what it is. Heck, no studio wanted to even sign it. Even characters under masks like Yak Face, it could open that up. So what is Disney to do? What is Lucasfilm to do? Well, they take action. One is that they immediately say, nope, we're just never doing Tonnika sister figures. That was their way of sort of, shutting off the valve and closing off this issue just by saying, they're off the table, we're not doing them. The reason they were off the table is because if they did do them, suddenly everybody who ever had a figure who was in the background would suddenly want to get paid as well. And that's just going to be such an issue, both from a monetary, a legal issue. So really, what Disney has now done is set a new policy. So if it's a major character who has likeness rights signed away, everything from Peter Cushing to the actor who played Captain Nita, well, they were a major character enough that they would have signed their likeness rights. Background characters, like all those officers sitting around the Death Star a conference room, or even the officer who said, "You rebel scum," from the Battle of Endor pack that was put out years ago. Well, those actors most likely don't have likeness right contracts. So they're off the table. It's basically the Tonnika Sisters exposed this loophole. Major characters like Piet, you're still going to get Imperial officers, and you'll get named Imperial officers if, again, they had a major role in the film and therefore signed away a likeness rights. But for all of those troopers, those background aliens, those background Imperials, well, the new rule is they're all generic. They can't ever be a specific character seen on screen, because that's going to expose the fact that none of these actors from the 70s signed likeness rights contracts. Because again, why would you? Nobody wanted to make Star Wars. Lucas had to give up his director's fee just to get the studio to agree to make it. So, you'll see some exceptions, like this Richard Marquand figure of an AT-ST guard that was tooled quite a while ago, that's being re-released in the Vintage series. That's kind of like an appendage that's, left over. But the new rule going forward is we will not see specific characters anymore. The Tonnika Sisters situation exposed this. That is why we've been told for years that we can't have them, because essentially that situation, it shined a light on this major issue that could absolutely blow up, with every single actor who ever played a background character suddenly now asking for payment because the Tonnika Sister actress wanted payment, rightly so. And as a result, all of the figures in the background going forward, especially now under the Disney ownership, the new rule is they have to be generic. We cannot do specific characters because we don't have likeness rights. And that is the Tonnika Sister effect. I hope you enjoyed this video and it clarified the mystery of the Tonnika Sisters for years. If you like this video, please do subscribe, because it tells YouTube's analytics to share it with more people, and that's what it's all about. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.